Hey everybody, this is Dwayne Ferguson, and I have another awesome tip for you guys who want to make comic books using the Corona SDK. So, today we're going to talk about sound effects. You know, that kind of stuff like Kathoom, Bash, Biff, Pow. The stuff we grew up with. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can create that kind of stuff using vector graphics. I'm going to use Illustrator again because you get the cleanest artwork, especially for lettering when you use Illustrator. If you use Photoshop, you can also get a nice look, but it's going to be a little bit more pixelated from my experience. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and type. Let me go ahead and change this text here to a light blue. And I'm going to type Kathoom because in this case, we're going to make believe that there's thunder and lightning going on outside. Or Thor has taken his mighty hammer and smashed it across someone's head. So we have Kathoom. Looks interesting, but it's pretty boring because it doesn't have that comic book feel, but not yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this text and really hook it up. I'm going to make a copy of it. So I'm going to edit, copy, edit, paste, just so we can have a backup, so we can look at the before and after. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to take this text and I'm going to break it from text into something called an outline. Because as you can see here, when I grab my type tool and I click, I can still change the text. And sometimes it can be problematic because if you don't have the font on your system, it can mess you up. So back in the day when you used to bring documents to the printer might not have had the font you used, and then when you printed your document with a really cool, funky font, you got something like Times New Roman, which looked pretty bad. So I'm going to go to the Type menu and choose Create Outlines. This breaks it apart from being text, and now it's a picture. You'll notice that when I grab my Type tool, I can no longer click and drag on it, because I can grab the Direct Selection tool, which is this white arrow, I can click, and I can refine the shape of this text. And all I have to do is hover my mouse near the edge, and I can see the boxes appear underneath it. These little boxes are called points. So I can take this and change the text if I want to. This is really handy when you want to create logos, which I'll cover in another lesson. But for now, I'm going to undo this by hitting the Command key and the letter Z. Then I'm going to grab the whole thing, and I'm going to give it what's called a stroke. As you can see, this blue color is inside the text, and it's called a fill. To give it a stroke, I go to this little swatch up here, click, and I can give it a color. So we'll give it a white color. And I'll increase the size of that stroke, or the weight of that stroke here. So as you can see, we have Kathoom. Now the inside might be too light. So what do? We go to this swatch, and we can make it a darker blue. So we have this nice lightning feel. Now, in the case of choosing fonts, you can choose whatever you want to, but I choose fonts that are nice and thick. In this case, this one's called Impact. And with my type tool, I simply went to my character button here, or I can go to the type menu, choose font, and I can find something nice and thick. Try to choose fonts that are going to give you the most visual oomph, because Kathoom with a thin font will be kind of weak. Alright, so let's get to the fun part. With Kathoom selected, I'm going to go to the Effect menu, and I'm going to choose Distort and Transform, Roughen. I can get a preview as to what this will look like by clicking here. And right away we have a more interesting look. I can use this side slider, and I can change how powerful that is. And I can add detail. And let's say someone is getting hit by lightning. You can really show that by having the detail pushed all the way up like so. So I'm going to drop that down a little bit like this. I can also choose to have it smooth or corner, and you can just change how the angles look there. I'll hit OK. And so far so good, but we're not quite there yet. I want this to come at us. So we're going to go back to the Effect menu. We're going to go to Warp, Arc. Now the Arc menu opens up all the arcs anyway. Now I'll cancel that and show you. You don't have to go to Effect, warp, and then choose one of these, because no matter which one you choose, they all show up in this drop-down list. Now, one that's going to look really good for us is going to be flag. Once again, I can hit preview, and I can see the effect taking place on my text. I can use this bend function here to add more bend or to take some of that in the other direction. So since the lightning is coming from above, well, at least in the world I live in, I'm going to put the bend all the way to the left, and I can change the distortion on the horizontal and the vertical by using these sliders. So I can have the word really shrinking on the other end, or I can have Cthulhu going off into the distance. So it depends on what you want to do. So I'm going to go like this. On my vertical, I can do something like this, but that's a little bit too wonky for this. But you can see what it does. So I'm going to not mess with that too much. Then I'll hit OK. I'll deselect it. And now I have a nice Cthulhu that's knocking somebody through a window, because that's what Cthulhus do. And that, my friends, is how you can create special effect text. Now, as a bonus, what is the actual name of text like this, special effects text? The answer, onomatopoeia. Don't ask where it came from. I didn't make it up. So, until next time, guys, this is Dwayne Ferguson for the awesome folks at Anscamobo. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to visit my website at diehardstudio.com to see the other shenanigans I'm always up to.